Hi, this is Kate Sherrill, Instructional Services Librarian from Rice Library, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about the library resources that are available to you online. Here we're on the library homepage, and this is really the portal to get to the library resources. Everything that we have available is linked through this website in some way. Over on the left here, we have our chat box. The live chat is generally available during the day, Monday through Friday. It is also sometimes manned on nights and weekends, but you can tell by it'll say available or offline. And so anytime it says available, you can just type here with your question and start having a live chat conversation with a reference librarian or a library staffer. We also have other options. Down here below, you can contact us via text message. You can send us email through the Ask a Librarian link. We also have a link here to one-on-one consultations. This is for students or faculty if you have a research question and you want to schedule a one-on-one time with a reference librarian to work with you on your research questions and how to use the different resources. We will schedule time. It could be a half hour, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, depending on the size of your project and your needs. And we can do that in person in the library, or we can also do it online if that's what works for you. Okay. Over here on the right, under Tools, we have our databases. We have over 100 different databases on all different areas of study. And so you could go to your particular area of study, let's say psychology, and see here we're highlighting that out of those 100+ databases, that these would be the best ones to go to start your psychology research. If you have a particular database in mind that you want to look at, you can go to the A to Z list and see the entire list alphabetically and find the one that you want. Okay. And we also have them divided up by types of resources. So if you're looking specifically for ebooks, you can go there, and this shows our different ebook databases. If you're looking for newspaper articles, if you're looking for reference type materials, we have a lot of our references available in ebook form now. So as opposed to having the hard copies in the library, we have electronic versions online. And so you can get to those there. Another option we have is Fusion, which is a way you can search several dozen of the library databases at one time. And so we have a Fusion search box here. And we also have it linked on the left throughout the website. And with Fusion, it comes up at a basic search, but if you're a more advanced searcher, you can just click on Advanced Search and go right to the more advanced search where you have more options to play with. And I'm just going to put in climate change as an example. Doing a search for climate change got me 1.9 million items, and there's, for instance, a reference entry, the entry about climate change from Encyclopedia Britannica. I have an ebook here. This is a print book in the library. This is interesting. This particular book, it says we have print and we also have online access. Let's see, lots of ebooks. There'll also be articles, and you can sort the results different ways. You could continue to add search terms to narrow the search, or you could, again, you could narrow your dates, the different types of materials, etc. Okay. When you're using Fusion, you will show up as guest when you first come here. If you go to sign in with your My USI credentials. Oh, okay, it's on me and it's Larissa. And so now that your name should appear if you signed in successfully. And once you've signed in, you can save items to your eShelf. And so I could go through and select different items I'm interested in, and they will show up there. It's kind of setting those aside for me. And so it's a nice feature. Anytime you sign back in, you can access those things that you've set aside for yourself. And you can also organize the things on your eShelf. You can group them. So maybe you have 2 or 3 papers you're working on at the same time. You can go into your eShelf and sort the different resources that are for different papers and group them together so that they're not all jumbled together. If you want to share an article, either to share it with your students or you want to save it to look at it later on, be aware that you do not want to use the URL up here in the browser, in the address bar. When you're in the library databases, it's a different type of environment, and these URLs are what we call dynamic. They're constantly changing as you search in the databases. If I try to grab this URL up here and copy and paste this, it will not work later on. What you want to do is look for something like this. Here on the page, they're offering us a stable URL. So this is a cleaned up URL that will get me back to this particular article. And those are the type of URLs that you would want to grab and say post in Blackboard if you want to direct students to an article. With this article, here's another example of that PermaLink, that permanent link that you would want to grab to share this article with someone else or save it for yourself. And so this PermaLink is going to work later today, tomorrow, next week, next month. Whereas if you grab that URL from the top of the page, that's not going to work for you. If you find if you're looking at an article citation in the databases or in Fusion and it's not available in full text, here's one, no full text, you can click check for full text. And what happens is Fusion will check the other databases that weren't in our initial Fusion search and see, do we have this particular publication available? And in this case, we didn't. If it had been available in another database, it would have given us a link to go there to find it. And so it gives us the option request via ILLiad, which is our interlibrary loan system. And it takes you to the ILLiad system. The very first time you go to ILLiad, you will have to fill in some information, your contact information, things like that. But a really nice feature is Fusion will actually transfer the citation information about this article right into ILLiad. And so once you get into ILLiad to request your article, it will fill out the form for you with all those bits of information. And then all you have to do is fill in the very last line where it asks what course of study this request is associated with. The Interlibrary Loan Service is free, and so you can request articles for free, and then they're delivered electronically, so you would get a notice in your email account when it arrives, and then you have a period of time to go download that article and use it. So for articles that are available electronically, that's an option. If you are ever looking for an item and it says that we have the print periodical in the library, it might say we have it in print, or we might have it on microfilm or microfiche, and you want that copy of that article, our interlibrary loan department will also pull those items and scan and send them to you electronically. So if you're not here in Evansville, but you want a copy of an article we have in print in the library, you would just use the ILLiad system to request that, and they'll scan it and send it to you electronically for free. Let's go back and take a look at some of these ebooks. So, for example, this one, Modern Climate Change Science. I click on it, and this one is from Springer. We have several different ebook suppliers, so they'll look a little different, but they have a lot of the same features. This one will let me download the book as a PDF or as an EPUB, and the EPUB format works with a lot of ebook readers like Kindles, things like that. Okay, and it has a table of contents of what's in the book. They often have limits on how much you can print or how much you can copy from a book, and so it will tell you how many pages your max is, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of printing out pages. One of the best features of ebooks is search within this book. So you can actually search for a particular term. Okay, so I'm going to put in ice shelf, and so it shows me that there's 2 particular places in this book where they talk about the ice shelf. and I can go and view that chapter. If it's a print book, it will have information about if the book is available or not. So, for instance, this book is print. It says available, so it should be on the shelf. And then it has information about what floor it would be on and the call number. And so if you're actually coming here to the library to get a physical book, we have this feature, Map It, where it will actually show you what floor the book is on, and then you can see from the map what shelf and general area to find that particular book. So it's a really nice feature that we've just added to the library collections. So back on the library homepage, let's talk about research guides. Research guides are kind of custom websites that we put together on different topics. Sometimes they're on subject areas, or sometimes they're about how to do a particular thing, like how to do citation. And so we have LibGuides on all different subjects, and some of them are very broad for whole schools of study, and then we have some that are very specific that we have custom made for particular instructors and programs. And so if you would be interested in having a research guide made for your course, you just contact the librarians and we can start to work with you on that. We can actually give you access in LibGuides to where you can add content as well as we do, so that we could really collaborate on them. And so you can see them organized by subject, or all guides, list all the different guides that are available, or you can search with keywords. So let's say citation. Okay. And so, for instance, if I'm looking for information on how to cite an APA style in our How to Cite Sources LibGuides, let me just go there. Here it is. It comes up first page that you see is APA, but then we also have the other commonly used citation styles: MLA, Chicago, Turabian, AMA, etc. And so, for instance, on the APA page here, we have information about the APA manual, the call number, where it can be found. We have links to different online tip sheets, ones that we've generated ourselves here at USI, ones available from other schools that we recommend. And then if your students really want to use a citation generator, the one we recommend is Noodle Tools Express. And it does only MLA, APA, and Chicago style, but it does give really great results. So if, for instance, I want to cite an article in APA style, I select APA. I specify what type of source it is. So let's say it's a journal article that I just found in a database. So I'll choose the format. I found this in a database. And then as I click on each field, it's going to pop up tips to help make sure that I'm inputting the information correctly. Okay. And once I've filled this all out, I click submit, and it will come back and give me a perfectly formatted citation as long as I follow the tips and filled in the information correctly. If you give it good input, it will give you a great result. And it will also offer you the option to see how in-text citation for that source should be done. And you can just click on that option. It'll show you how to do it and give you more information. A lot of the databases will offer you free automatically generated citations. We find that they're often not very good. I'd say about 50% of the time they have issues. So for instance, the cite option over here, okay, and it offers me different citation formats. Let's say I want to do APA. So here's the citation they're offering me, and I could copy and paste that. But I always recommend verify these citations that you get from the databases. As I said, sometimes they have issues. They don't do proper capitalization. They don't recognize, say, country names, so they won't capitalize them even though they should be, things like that. We have some tutorials. We are in the process of updating tutorials, so this list will be changing. We are adding new tutorials. We are creating some new ones this summer. We have found some of the tutorials that are good, but they need updating because interfaces have changed, things like that. So we will be constantly working on refreshing this list with updated tutorials and new tutorials that we find are needed. Library instruction, if you are interested in having a library instruction in your classroom or bringing your class to a library, we can do that. We could also do online type of library instructions, either something pre-recorded or a live online library instruction. Whatever works for you and your students, just contact us and we'll talk about it and see what we can do, what we can provide. The Classic Catalog is a way to search for all of our physical items, but we also have our ebooks in here as well. So let me just, for example, let's do climate change again, and I'll search that as a phrase. And if I wanted, for example, to see only electronic books, because maybe I'm a student, a distance student, I could specify that. And now all the results that I'm going to see, wow, over 1,100 results of ebooks that talk about climate change. Okay, so I'm actually going to refine my search a little because I said keyword anywhere. Some of those books may have a chapter about climate change, and that might be why I'm seeing them. So I'm going to change it to subject keyword so I know that book is all about climate change. And let's see, 70 results. All right, great. So this is a ProQuest ebook. So it's an ebook, but it's from a different publisher. Looks a little bit different. And so it's you want to look at availability. If you're thinking about assigning, say, a chapter or two in an ebook for your students to read, you want to be sure to pay attention to the availability. This particular book, it says your institution has access to one copy of this book. So only one person could take a look at this book at a time. Other of our ebooks will say unlimited, so as many people can look at it at the same time as once. I've seen 2, I've seen 4, 8, 12 copies, so it varies, so that you really want to watch out on that availability. And then here, as I mentioned before, they specify how many pages you can copy from this book, how many you can print from this book, and you can do a download if you want to download it to a device like maybe an iPad or something like that for reading. Okay. Again, they offer citations. Again, always take it with a grain of salt. Don't assume it's going to be correct right off the bat. And then this share link to book gives us a good citation, a good link that would work later on. Okay, and then over here on the right in the bibliographic info, all the information that I would need to create my citation is going to be here: title, authors, publisher, information, etc. Okay, and as with the other one, I can search within the book and find, and it will show me right in the book where the different terms or names or whatever I'm looking for in the book. Okay. When it comes to putting materials online, maybe you're thinking about doing some e-reserves, or you want to post an article or a video clip in Blackboard, things like that. Always feel free to contact us at the library to find out if it's going to be all right copyright-wise, to see if it qualifies for fair use. We have fair use checklists and different manuals we can take a look at to help you with these questions.